Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Birdwatch, the great pop culture debate podcast's fashion review of Drag Race UK. I'm your host, Eric Resniak, and this week I'm joined by my extra special guest judge, Miss Karissa Kloss. Give the folks in YouTube land a Rocky Mountain hi!
Hi! Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, my darling. We are going to toot, boot, shoot, and poot the promo looks for Season 2 of Drag Race UK, which will premiere on January 14th on BBC iPlayer and WoW Presents Plus. And with that, we are going to get right on to our first gal. And up first, it's Ahura. Karissa, what do you think?
I love it. I love it so much. I think everything about it is great. I love the stones in the hair, which is kind of a new thing for me. But we're starting to see it a bit more, and I really like it. I love how asymmetrical this is. I think every single piece of this is interesting. And I think the hair, it could potentially go wrong, right? Because she's covering part of her face. But I think it's great. I think she looks stunning.
So is that a toot?
It is very much a toot.
It is also very much a toot for me. This, to me, one of the things that we'll talk about with these looks altogether is, while Season 1's promo looks were very fashion with a capital F, this season's looks are very drag to me, which is not a bad thing. It's just they're very drag. This is high drag for me. This is giving me pussy, cuss, cunt, bitch, right? It is, for me, dragged head to toe. That face is beat. The dress itself is so cool. I love the neckline that's asymmetrical, almost like swirling cream. The color's gorgeous on her. You've got that very interesting seam work. It actually reminds me weirdly of Leanne from Season 5 of Project Runway.
Yeah.
But I just think
I love her. And yeah, it's so well constructed. Like, the number of pieces that this dress is made out of, it must be insane. You know, it's like, it's got to be like 30 at least just for the bodice. And it looks awesome. That is not an easy material to work with. And it looks expensive.
For those at home, Karissa is herself a seamstress, so she's an expert on this. And let's just talk about that one sleeve off on the left. Just attitude. I love it. So total.
I love it.
Next, we have Miss Astana Mandela.
I like the sleeves. This is a boot for me. I really dislike this look. I think everything about it is just bad. The skirt, it looks like a loincloth. It's too short on the sides. The top is kind of interesting. It's a hoodie. And I think in her Meet the Queen, she talked about wearing streetwear and being like a goofball geek, and kind of called this a Jedi outfit, which I get, but it doesn't work for me. And a big part of it is the color, which I think has to do with the theme.
Sure. So let's talk about the theme for a second. I believe that the theme for this was they took the modern reinterpretation of the pride flag, the one that includes the trans pride colors, which are the baby blue, the pink, the white, and then the black and brown for the members of color of the community. And I can understand why a queen would look at the brown assignment and be like, I got screwed. But we've seen some amazing gowns on this show and in life that are brown. I mean, there's a reason we say brown cow stunning. And this is, to me, kind of a throwaway. I said in the Season 13 promo look video, which if you haven't watched, please go watch it on our YouTube channel, that when I look at a promo look, this is something that these queens are going to be using for years to come to promote themselves. This is what you decided to put out there? Like, this is the photo that you want to have with you for years to define who you are as a queen? It to me seems like a real throwaway. I think she's actually quite beautiful, and the body is banging. The wig is giving me the Dita Ritz clearance rack, and that is not a compliment. But for me, it is 100% a boot. We're going to move on to Bimini Bon Boulash.
In the words of Idol Jasmine Masters, panties, bitch. Generally, I really like this look. I think it's great. But that, like, Fredericks of Hollywood, like, bedazzled thong is under that exquisite corset is just such a shame. I really, really, really like the middle part of this look. minus the panty. I'm a little unsure of the headpiece. But I see how it all ties together, and that corset and the sleeves, stunning. So it's a toot for me, even though the underwear needs an upgrade.
I'm also going to toot this. Every wig in the world is on top of her head, and I give her points for that because I think it's pretty major. And those sleeves are spectacular. They are, yes, Marie Antoinette let them eat cake. And I agree that where it's falling short is from the waist down. But if I'm looking at it just the waist up, she's killing it. She's got herself what looks like an apron on her head, like she's gonna go into her easy bake oven, and I'm gonna eat whatever she serves me. So toot for me. Next up, we have Cherry Valentine.
She looks stunning. Like, this silhouette on this is so interesting, and like this is latex done right. It fits her so well. I get Boulé vibes. I don't know any way around that, and I don't want to be comparing queens, but like she looks like a Boulé. I don't love the contacts. I never like colored contacts anyway, and I feel like she's obscuring herself here, and this is your introduction to the world. I also am a little iffy about the hair piece, but here again we see stoning in the wig, and I'm here for it. I like this trend. Overall, this is definitely a toot for me, even though there's some stuff that's not quite working. I still think it's successful.
Agree, and I would say, like, she's trying a little bit too hard here, but I'd rather that you try than kind of just show up and be like, here I am in my tiny skirt and hoodie. I agree. I find the headpiece actually really fascinating, and that's not a pun on fascinators. Like, I want to know more about it, but it screams Boulé, and I have to assume that is an intentional nod, and that's not enough to Cherry, because if that is her gig, who else? Who better to look up to? It's latex, it's form fitting, those sleeves, the whole thing. It's Drac Morta, and I think it's beautiful. Although there are a couple styling issues that I think take it down slightly for me, but it's still a complete and total toot. Moving on, we have Ellie Diamond.
I'm sort of confused by this look. It's like a cartoon anime Lil Bo Peep, but pink and minus the stat. I don't really know what's going on here. In the Meet the Queens video that I watched, the hairline was real rough. Like really rough. But otherwise, I think the mug is incredible. And I do find this dress interesting. As much as I'm kind of like overwhelmed by it, the more I look at it, the more interesting I think it is. And it looks like there's a big bow on the back, and she's got the lace-up shoes. I think it's the hood part that's throwing me the most. But overall, this is a toot. And she is a sewing queen. So, props.
I actually like this completely. I don't have any real issues with it. There is something where it veers into clown territory, but it could also be fairy tale. But I think it's really well executed, and I think it's interesting. This is someone I want to know more about, and that to me is what a successful promo look is for a drag race queen. I think there's an energy to this photo. There's the actual garment itself is quite beautiful, and even though it's a specific niche that she's working in, it's a niche that I want to know more about. So, toot for me. Next up, we have Ginny Lemon.
I have never felt such an aversion to an intro photo before. I don't want to know this person. This screams to me like overbearing kindergarten art teacher who does not respect personal boundaries.
That is such a read.
I'm sorry.
No, it's sorry. You need to live your
but
truth.
I just there's Crocs, and like it's so many. It's like thrown together, all of the yellow things, but not really anything that matches. And the queen is just so extroverted, and like in their Meet the Queens, they talk about being an improv comedian and doing alternative drag, and I love all forms of drag, but I don't know that I would have fun at this show. And so this look is just, it doesn't make me want to know more about this person, and so I'm gonna boot it.
Okay. Don't hate me, Chris. I'm gonna toot it. I think that Ginny became an instant icon when she showed up to her fucking promo shoot in Crocs. That is a statement, and I appreciate that. This is wild. This is up there to me with Milk in the AS3 promo and the muscle suit. It's very like, I know you're expecting a certain thing out of us for this, and I'm gonna give you something completely different, and I'm gonna do it. It's probably for shock, but it works. I'm getting Leslie Hall, if you know her, like Gem Me a Gem sweater. That's the energy I'm getting from this. Meets some Elton John in the 1970s. Meets Dame Edna. Like that's what I'm getting out of this photo, which is a lot out of one still photo, and for me that's successful. The actual clothes themselves, um, yeah, I mean, this looks like the jacket that Baga used to walk around in the workroom in season one. But it's not good clothes, but I think it is an effective promo photo. So for that reason, two for me. Next up, it's Joe Black.
I toot this. There's stuff about this that I don't love. I think it's too overly accessorized. Like, these queens are really into like the collars, the Elizabethan ruff. And there's also a harness under this. Yeah, it's or some kind of there's something. Plus you've got like the claw fingers and the stoning and lace on the latex. But overall I think it's a toot. I'm just a little bit confused by it, and I think it's over accessorized, but I also, this is one where I wonder if the color assignment was a detriment, because she talks about being a cabaret queen, and I just really wonder if this is her aesthetic or if this just fills the assignment.
It's a good question. I also suspect that there are at least 4 queens, possibly 5 on this cast that have a color reference in their names.
Yes,
and all of them have that color represented. So would it be weird to do a color-based theme and then have Joe Black in purple, right? So are you tooting this, or are you...
I'm gonna toot it because I don't think it's egregiously bad, and I am interested in her, and I really loved her in the Meet the Queens. Like, she was great. So I'm intrigued, but it's not my favorite. Soft toot.
Yeah, this is the whisper of a toot. It's like she walked into a Hot Topic and said, "I'll take it." It's a lot of accessories on accessories on accessories, and what really pushes me off here is there's no shaping of the body aside from the gigantic shoulders and elbows, and then it's up and down pole, skinny pole bodies, as Miss Jasmine would say. I need some curves there to give me some of the illusion that I feel like I'm missing. There's elements though that I do think are really lovely. I think the sleeves are actually gorgeous. I think that the makeup is clearly a character, but I think, again, it's successful. I do want to know more about this queen, but from a stylistic point of view, there needed to have been some editing. And I can't believe I'm saying that about a drag queen, because I am a fan of more is more, but I'm saying that about a drag queen. So, toot, but just barely a toot. Next up, we have Lawrence Chaney. Karissa, what do you think?
I toot this. This is good for me. I really like this color on her. I think her mug is stunning. I wish the hair were bigger. It just, I like the updo, and I like that it's going up, but I wish all of the little knots just seem like too restrained for this, and I just wish they were louder and bigger. I don't understand these British queens with the collars. I don't think it's really needed here, or I wish it were more exaggerated. But the rest of this, like, the color is stunning, the fabric looks nice, the stoning is really great, the shape on her is incredible. I just wish that the short side of the skirt were a little bit longer, but this is a really good intro look for her, so that's a 2.
Interesting. You actually made me like this more than I did. When I was starting this, I was probably going to boot it, but you sold me on. You're right. The shape is actually quite good, and I think the color is gorgeous on her. The hair is an issue in that when you tend to be a little bit bigger, a bigger hair will help to minimize your face. I actually don't mind the Elizabethan collars. I think it's.
I don't get it.
I think it may be a fun just hey, we're from the UK, callback, but I will go ahead and toot this. It is very old school very old school drag to me. But like I said, for me, one of the recurring themes of these promos is capital D drag. And Lawrence is giving us that. So we'll toot Lawrence. Next up, we have Sister Sister, who I think's name must only be said as the theme from the Tia and Tamara Mowry sitcom from the 90s. So, Sister Sister, go for it.
Is there any other way? I love the color. I'm just generally confused by this. I don't know if it's like a pillow talk thing, if this is a blue waffle thing. Like, I don't know what she's doing. I like the hair. In the Meet the Queens video, it's half unglued, which is unfortunate. But I think it looks good, and I really like this color, but it's too many different, almost exactly, but not quite exact royal blues here. So yeah, she looks great, but I don't like this silhouette, and I'm gonna boot this.
Okay, I'm gonna toot it. Everyone hate me. It's fine. To me, it's ridiculous. Like, she looks like a very sexy blue M&M. That's all I'm getting. But I think you may be right when you talk about blue waffle. I think that may be exactly what she's trying to go for here. It is weird. It is like totally kooky. I know nothing about this queen, but I want to know more. Again, that's a successful promo look for me. It has zero shape. I don't understand the lips, unless she's also giving us Violet Beauregard, Violet, you're turning violet realness. This is a blueberry fantasy, and as stupid as it is, I'm gonna toot it. So we're gonna move on to Taste.
This one also kind of confused me because this feels to me like a victim of the assigned color outfit assignment, because in her Meet the Queen, she talks about how she wants to bring color to the world, and her look is really villainesque and model-esque, and I don't see any of that here. This is like a stoned mesh bodysuit with weird feather things hanging off. She did describe that, she did say she changes it up and compared this look to a sexy owl come down to peck your face off, which made me like it more. And I'm gonna boot it. I just don't get it.
Uh-oh, the taste stands are gonna come for you. I will toot this. I think it is actually pretty. I get Deadly Owl coming to peck out your eyes. I think Taste is gorgeous. I think she may have my favorite mug of this entire group. I will give you the complete truth that there's not a lot of clothes here. It is a fishnet bikini, essentially, or I guess, with tastefully deployed feathers and stones. But it's glamorous to me. It is sexy, and it is Womana. And I want to know more about Taste, so I'm going to go ahead and toot it. I'm the nice judge, everyone. I'm the nice one. Next up, it's Tia Coffee.
There's a lot of hems here.
Derek Barry would approve.
Exactly. I really don't like this at all. It's just, there's no shape to it, even though there's like pleating, there's shaping, there's things that usually help to make a shape happening here, and it's not happening. I don't like the hair. It's like, it's too long. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. And she said that she's an expensive queen who can't sew, and so she buys all this stuff, and it's unfortunate. So I'm booting this.
I will join you in booting this. I don't even, the energy of this photo to me, I can only describe as dippy, and that's not something I tend to really go for in my drag queens. Is she a pretty queen? Sure. This just seems to me, it's forgettable. That's all I would say. The fashion of it is not particularly, I mean, I know I just tooted a basically fishnet bikini, but Taste was selling that. Tia's not selling this. To me, it is fine, but really uninspiring, and for that reason I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to boot it. And then finally we have Veronica Green.
Speaking of fine and uninspiring, my notes for this look literally say it's fine. She gives me Scarlet Envy vibes here, and it's it's fine. It's a good silhouette. There's something weird with the strapless and then the hair coming down, and there's like no connection there. I don't know. I wish it were an updo maybe. I mean, the silhouette is great. It's a beautiful dress. You can tell it's well made, and she has money, and this tells you what kind of queen she is, I think. So it's a toot for me, but it's not impressive.
I will toot it as well, but it is very off the rack. It looks to me like the Russian dress shops that are up and down the street that I live on in Queens. I actually do like the detail on the dress. I think it's actually quite lovely. And the mermaid skirt is dramatic. It's a beautiful shade on her. But it's not memorable. The whole thing kind of comes off as a lovely fifth alternate in a pageant. That's what I'm getting. But I think Veronica is lovely, and it is a beautiful shade of green, and she did the assignment. So for that, I'm going to give it a soft toot. With that all out of the way, Karissa, who is your top toot of the week?
No question, it's Ahura. I am Nikki Doll level excited to see what she's going to bring us this season.
I will agree, it's Ahura. Ahura showed up and showed everybody else how to do a promo look. The rest of them, again, lovely fifth alternates. But I am excited for this season of Drag Race UK. It has a very different vibe to me already from the first one, and I think it's going to be quite dramatic. So I hope that you all check out WoW Presents Plus starting on January 14th for Drag Race UK 2. Then check back here the following Monday for our fashion takes with Birdwatch. And if you want to get in some skin in the game, the Great Pop Culture Debate will be running a fantasy league for both UK 2 and Drag Race Season 13 on our website at greatpopculturedebate.com. So check that out, and while you're there, listen to episodes of the podcast, vote on polls to determine what we cover in our next episode, and you can even pick the topics we talk about in the podcast. So what I know, democracy, wow. So thank you for watching, and make sure to click that follow button and find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon as well. Pick, cheerio, and tati buys.